Hi, I'm Susie Garden, and this is the Ageless and Awesome podcast. I'm an age-defying naturopath and clinical nutritionist, and I'm here to bust myths around women's health and aging so that you can be ageless and awesome in your 40s, 50s, and beyond. The Ageless and Awesome podcast is dedicated to helping women through perimenopause and menopause with great health, a positive mindset, and outrageous confidence. Hit subscribe or follow now, and let's get started. Hello, gorgeous one, and welcome to Q&A Thursday with me, Susie. And this week, I have a question from Kerryn from Coffs Harbour. And her question is, what are my top tips for weight loss over 40? I hear this all the time. Kerryn is saying that she is trying everything that usually works for her is not working anymore. What can I do? And yeah, I hear this all of the time, Kerryn. So I was thinking about this and thinking about how to discuss this because it's obviously very involved. It's probably a bit more involved than a Q&A episode. But I thought, you know what? I can really easily summarize this by looking at the 6 key pillars of my Glow protocol, because it was especially designed for women over 40 for balancing hormones and weight loss. And so I thought I'll just go through that because it's pretty easy, and it also will give you a little bit of an insight in how I work with women. So first and absolutely foremost is nutrition. As you know, I'm a naturopath and I'm also a clinical nutritionist, and I trained in nutrition first. So my go-to is always food. Food as medicine is so unbelievably powerful. And I have to be honest, when I first studied nutrition, I had no idea how powerful food is as a treatment, I guess, for what's going on in the body. Because when you think about it on a daily basis, what we're putting into our bodies in terms of food is actually building our hormones. It's actually building our skin cells, our muscle cells, our brain cells, our brain chemicals. Like as those food molecules get broken down into the little molecules of like vitamin D and magnesium and all of the amino acids, etc., it becomes part of us. It's really quite extraordinary. Our food, what we're eating, what we're putting in our body actually becomes part of our physicality, our physical body. Of course, some of it is turned into energy as well. But yeah, so nutrition is huge. But specifically within nutrition, here are some tips. Specifically within nutrition is a couple of things. One is eating a plan or a diet or whatever you want to call it. When I say diet, I never mean a diet. I mean just what you're eating. So having a diet that is low in inflammatory foods. So generally speaking, what we consider to be inflammatory foods for pretty much everyone are what we call white foods. So white flour, white sugar, white rice, white pasta, etc. All of those really highly processed foods are considered to be inflammatory to the body. Also things like alcohol, of course, your processed foods, pretty much anything that comes in a packet, for many people will be inflammatory. And so having a diet that's low in inflammatory foods, but also is high in foods that decrease inflammation. So you're generally speaking, they're going to be your brightly colored foods. So fruits and veggies that are, reds, oranges, purples, greens, etc. On top of that, we also want to look at managing your glucose and insulin balance. And so that is having the right proportion of protein and carbs, if you like, or veggies and salads, etc., for your biochemistry, for your body, your individual needs. And what I've found in working with personalized nutrition is that everyone is different. As you probably know, I work with blood testing to determine the foods, the actual foods, but also the proportions of protein to veggies and salads and fruits, etc. So doing this helps to manage that glucose and insulin. But there's also a couple of other little tricks. The first one is making sure every time you have a meal that you're having 2 bites of protein first. So that tricks your body into thinking you're having a high protein meal. It'll slow down your insulin secretion, and insulin is your fat storage hormone. It will also slow production of something called GLP-1. And I'm not going to get into the technicalities of that today, but it is something that is really important for managing glucose and insulin. And when you hear me talk like that, you might think, but I'm not diabetic. Why do I need to worry about that? As we age, I don't like using that word, as we age, as we get into our 40s and 50s and beyond, unfortunately, we tend to become a little more insulin resistant. And an insulin resistant state is a pre-diabetic state. And so we want to kind of avoid that. So we want to be managing our insulin and glucose as much as we can. And so that's why one of the reasons I do the blood test is we look at your fasting glucose. If people that do the 6-month program, I also look at their long range glucose, which is a HbA1c measurement. And from that helps to build a really comprehensive plan of foods that are ideal for the individual. So having that bite of 2 bites rather of protein first is really important. The other thing is if you're someone that snacks, and I used to be someone that snacks, and I happen to know that my blood glucose management is pretty bad. Like whenever I get tested, I'm kind of nudging that, I wouldn't say pre-diabetic, but certainly I have to work and think about what I'm eating in order to manage my glucose really well. And so for me, switching from snacking all day, which is what I used to do, to 3 meals a day and no snacks has been a game changer in terms of managing my energy, avoiding that sense of fatigue, particularly in the afternoon. Generally, that will come from poor blood glucose management. So now that I've learned how to do that, and I also obviously have my personalized nutrition plan, then I have found that's just been an absolute game changer for me in terms of reducing fat storage around my belly. That's where I tend to be an apple, not a pear. I'm fairly slim, but I also know I'm probably, I don't think I've ever had a laparoscopy, but I'm sure if I did, I would be someone that's termed skinny fat, in that there's a fair bit of visceral fat there. That is where I tend to store my fat tissues. So by managing my insulin and glucose, when I do that, I really notice a reduction in storage in that particular area. The other thing that goes along with nutrition, of course, is hydration. And you know I bang on about this all of the time. So your little calculation, if you haven't heard this before, for every kilo of body weight, it is 35 mils of water. That will give you optimal hydration. And that is any kind of hydrating beverage, like if you're having herbal teas, if you're having water, if you're having soups, smoothies, if you're having food that has a fair bit of water content, all of that is included. But yeah, 35 mils per kilo of body weight is what you should be aiming for, to a maximum of about 4 liters. So nutrition is number one when it comes to losing weight, obviously in your 40s and beyond. But it is not about restriction and starvation. Anyone that works with me knows that we don't count calories at all. It's such an outdated mode of managing weight. So having personalized nutrition, which is the exact foods for you in the exact portion sizes that you need, in the exact proportions of protein, veggies, salads, fruits, bread, etc. That is the key. All right, that was a lot. I think in terms of, let's just go straight to pillar number 2, which is detox. So as you know, if you've listened to me talk about detox before, detox is not extreme. Detox is not something where you're just drinking juice for 3 days. The body knows how to detox. We have a lot of detoxification pathways in our body. It's not just about the liver. It's also the skin. It's also our lymphatic system. It's our kidneys. It's our lungs. Like we have a whole bunch of detoxification pathways. So just having some juices isn't really going to cut it. And so with my program, we have set aside 2 days at the beginning where we're doing what we call a detox. It's very gentle, very mild, but some people get really significant symptoms from that, which means generally they probably needed it. And so, yeah, it's just supporting the body to actually detoxify itself, because the body knows what to do. And that is really important to help to remove blockers to weight loss. So that's probably my second pillar. My third pillar is always going to be gut health, because the gut is the seat of all health. And if we have good gut health, then we're going to have better detoxification. We're going to build good brain chemicals, which is going to help with our mindset and with our sleep. It's going to reduce inflammation in the body. When the body is inflamed, it holds onto weight. So having good gut health. And also if you have good gut health, of course, you're going to be able to absorb your nutrients better. So that's super important when we're wanting to lose weight, because if the body feels like it's starving, it's going to hold on to fat tissue, because we are wired for survival. So gut health is really, really important. Stress management, or building stress resilience, is also key. We know that stress is a real blocker to weight loss as well, because when we're stressed, our cortisol lifts and that blocks our ability to lose weight. So stress management is key. Finding movement you love is super important. I've never been one that's loved exercise. So once I found movement that I love, which for me is reformer Pilates and yoga and bushwalking and swimming in the ocean, and walking my dogs, of course, that is just given me everything I need to make my body feel good, to build muscle. Oh, I like lifting weights in the gym as well. So finding movement you love is really important, because then you're actually going to do it. And finally, and most importantly, actually, is mindset. Mindset around the belief that you can do this, mindset around having a positive attitude to change and change management, mindset around, how you feel about food and your relationship with food, mindset about how you feel about aging and about perimenopause and menopause, etc. And that's why working with someone that is qualified to manage weight loss is really important as well. And I think that's why I see so much success in my clients. I think that's probably all I want to say about it. So Kerryn, those are my top tips. I'll just recap that, is having a personalized nutrition plan where you are managing your insulin and your glucose, where you are reducing inflammation in your body, and you are really well hydrated. And those little two little tips are 2 bites of protein first with every meal, and having a 5 to 6 hour break between meals. So 3 meals a day, no snacks. Number 2 is, of course, detoxification. Number 3 is gut health. Number 4, managing your stress, super important. Number 5, finding movement you love. And number 6, mindset, and having someone to help and coach you and be there for you. So I hope that's helped. If you do want to check out the Glow Protocol, which is my signature program for women, check it out at susiegarden.com/the Glow Protocol. I'll put the link in my show notes so that you can check it out for yourself. Thanks so much for joining me today on the Ageless and Awesome podcast. If you liked today's episode, please make sure you click the little plus button if you're on Apple Podcasts, or the follow button if you're on Spotify, so that you can get each new episode delivered to you every single week. If you like free stuff, and who doesn't, then head over to susiegarden.com and grab my 8 essential age-defying secrets every woman over 40 should know right now. Or if you'd like to continue the discussion, head over to Instagram and DM me at Susie Garden Wellness. I'd love to connect with you.